if you spend $3,000 for better graphics, no one's trying to like talk about. No one cares about that, man. Like, oh yeah, your game looks.
See, here's the thing. I
Like-
liked the show a lot, and I thought it was pretty good, if we're being honest. But
Hey, you know that movie you just made a lot of money off of? What if we put multiple of the bad guy and money? Noah, did you watch any Venom movies this week?
you know, it's really funny that you should ask me that because I did actually just this week watch a Venom movie.
Which one?
Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything, but I saw the new Venom movie,
Oh,
Venom
new?
2, even wetter than before. And
was it actually wetter than before?
Jackson, I got good news and bad news for you. The good news, Carnage is so wet.
Oh, great.
Carnage is so wet.
That's amazing. That's what I wanted.
But there is some bad news.
What's the bad news?
The bad news is Venom, incredibly dry.
Really?
Yeah.
They dried him out.
I don't know why, but Venom was so dry in this movie, but Carnage was drippingly wet. It was actually kind of gross sometimes.
I feel like that's fitting, though, because I honestly feel like Venom in... This is a hot take. Venom in the comics, not that wet.
No, not that wet at all.
A
I
little
would agree.
gooey, but mostly dry and grabby. Carnage, historically, incredibly wet.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's goopy. He's able to make his like big spiky doodads. He's got the little tendrils. You know, he's just an active boy.
So the thing about the movie is it's called Venom: Let There Be Carnage.
Mm-hmm.
Was Carnage featured in the film?
I got good news for you. The title doesn't disappoint.
Good. I was kind of worried that like maybe they wouldn't let there be carnage.
So here's the funny
Would have been a
thing.
bold choice, frankly.
I was seeing some reviews that were saying that for a movie called Let There Be Carnage, there wasn't a lot of carnage in the movie. And I don't know if they were talking about property destruction or the character Carnage, but either way, they were wrong. So, like...
Yeah, it's kind of like they're like, there wasn't even carnage. I mean, he's the red guy. He was there like the whole time, I'm pretty sure.
So here's the thing, right? This is not spoils, all right? But every time Cletus Cassidy, aka Carnage, is on screen, he's killing every single person on screen.
That's. I mean, that is what you want him to do, though. Like as a character, that is what you expect.
So much stuff. That man sets foot on screen, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna miss these characters because everyone in the room and the room will be gone. So like, I'm having such a difficult time figuring out what exactly the reviewers could possibly have meant when they're like, yeah, they're just there just wasn't enough carnage in this movie. I don't know.
I feel like that's a pretty big step forward from the first movie, in which the bad guy existed solely in the last 20 minutes outside of 2 cutaway scenes.
Yeah.
And didn't fight anyone.
Mm-hmm. No, he just kind of was there and then made a little bit of a kerfuffle. And then
he was like, I'm Bad Venom, and I'm going to space. And then that was it. You're like, oh, well, I hope he goes to space.
Yeah.
Space Venom.
Good for Bad Venom. Hope he has fun up in space.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, and honestly, I agree.
Yeah, I think this movie had 30 minutes of plot setup, and then the last 60 minutes were borderline non-stop action.
That's fun.
It was.
That's what you want out of a movie like that, though.
I don't know if y'all saw this, but I saw a lot of people on Twitter talking about how comic book movies have so much back lore that you can't possibly make a comic book movie that only runs for 90 minutes. Which, firstly, I know, like, before someone comes in with that's the Marvel brain rot, blah, 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 you know, like the super long movies that Marvel's been putting out because they've been trying to make this gigantic story that they couldn't possibly do, you know? I feel like everyone forgot about the golden age of comic book movies, which was Blade.
You know, I feel like I've seen the name or references to Blade like 7 times this past week.
That
3 of them were from Noah.
Well, it wasn't just Noah. That's the thing. It wasn't just Noah. It was also Michelle and I watched a little short video about something called the McBarge, which was the.
Is that a McDonald's barge?
That's the McDonald's boat that existed near Vancouver, right?
It is, and was used in Blade 3. And also we've been watching through Community, and there was a ton of references to Blade in one of the recent episodes. And I don't know why Blade has come up a lot lately, but now I feel like I need to just go watch Blade.
So firstly,
you can skip it.
I need you to definitely, if you do watch it, because Jackson is correct, you can definitely skip it. If you do watch it, I need you to take...
I've heard the first one's pretty solid.
Dan, I need you to take your expectations of that movie, and I need you to put them way, way down there.
Oh, I have none. I've seen the synopsis.
What's your opinion of the first Iron Man movie?
It's
not that good.
I don't remember. I don't remember the first Iron Man movie, which is you know what? No, my opinion of the first Iron Man movie is that it was made in a cave with a box of scraps. That is the entirety of what I remember about that movie.
Okay, so there are not as many quotable lines like that in Blade.
Oof.
It's just Blade is introduced as who's that? And then the guy across the bar is just like, that's Blade, half man, half vampire, a day walker, they call him. And it's like,
amazing
whoa,
how they
what?
drop it.
And then there's just like, yeah, he was half turned by a vampire, but something stopped everything, blah, blah. And I don't remember all the details, but like that level of exposition is included in the first movie. And then they proceed to just kind of go off from there.
That's both beautiful and horrifying.
Yeah, did you like
it's amazing.
Ghost Rider?
I actually did like Ghost Rider.
It's
I'm not
better
proud
than
of the fact
Ghost
that-
Rider.
I'm not
It
proud
is
of the fact that I
better
like
than that.
Ghost Rider because I
It's
don't.
fun. No, it's just fun. It's a dumb fun
It's
movie.
so much
That's
fun.
like the classic comic book movie era that Ghost Rider and Blade come from. That's what Venom 2 is. You just
I love it. That's what I need in my life.
there's no big plot. There's it's literally just an accident happens and Carnage comes out. And he's just like, I mean, you've seen the trailers. You've seen exactly how Carnage pops
Mhm.
up. It's an interview and he bites him. And it's like, oh, cool, here we go. Now here's Carnage. And then you get 60 minutes of Carnage.
It's honestly pretty fucking great.
Yeah. It's such a fun time. I don't know. And then there was a post-credits scene that is very worth watching. There is only one, stayed all the way to the end just in case, but we didn't think there was going to be a way for them to top the post-credits scene that was there. But quite honestly, it was just a really good closing scene to a really fun movie. The movie was so stupidly fun. Like, I joked about seeing all the different horror creators I follow, tweeting about their first big horror movie of October, and I'm just sitting here like, I went to see Venom, Let There Be Carnage, but no, it's so incredibly worth your time. It's over and done before you know it. It's not an overinflated plot. In fact, the movie may even leave you thinking, man, this was fun. I wish there was another 10 or 15 minutes of exposition because there's not a lot to this movie, but they know what works for it, and that's what I appreciate.
I can respect that quite a bit, yeah.
But yeah, that's all the Venom movies I watched this weekend, though.
That's
Jackson,
more than me.
Did you watch any Venom? No, none?
I didn't watch any Venom movies this week. It was my dad's birthday, so I couldn't go to the Venom premiere.
I was very sad when you said that, because I was just like, hell yeah, let's go to the Venom premiere. And I'm like, ooh, Jackson would like that. But, I'll go again.
Oh, that's Venom. Let There Be Carnage.
It really was a Venom Let There Be Carnage of a time.
I would like to imagine that they pitched the movie starting with that name, kind of like Aliens style, where they were like, excuse me, Sony boardroom, Venom. And they're like, okay, Venom, what do you want from this new Venom movie? Well, let there be Carnage. And they just left the room. That's how I would like to imagine they pitched it. Maybe with like a money sign somewhere in there. Is that actually true? Is that really how Aliens was pitched? Have you heard that story before?
No, I have no clue what you're talking about.
So apparently the story, it was James Cameron directed Aliens, right? Ridley Scott did the first one, James Cameron did the second one.
I thought Ridley
Sure,
Scott did
why not?
both, but I'll go with that answer because I'm not sure.
Wait, I'm pretty sure it was I'm pretty sure it's James Cameron. Okay, I thought so. I wasn't 100%, but yeah, Ridley Scott did the first one, James Cameron did the second one, and I'm pretty sure the story is that James Cameron walked into the boardroom at whatever studio put out Alien and was like, he literally on a whiteboard wrote the word alien and then afterwards put a dollar sign to make it aliens.
I want to believe that's true,
Frankly,
and I
a
will
power
not
play.
at all look into it to see if it is.
That's the story I've heard. I don't know if that's just like an urban legend or if it's actually true, but because it's James Cameron, I can see it happening. Because what are they gonna do? Tell him no?
Honestly,
If it was just
though.
like an upstart person doing that, like someone no one knew, that wouldn't work at all. But I feel like if James Cameron walks in, he's like, "Hey, you know that movie you just made a lot of money off of? What if we put multiple of the bad guy and money?" I feel like that would work. That's the story I've heard. Again, it might just be like one of those like, urban legend type things, like Marilyn Manson being able to suck his own dick because he got his rib cage removed. Which everyone knows is true and real.
I was just going to say, can we prove that's not true? Because I'm pretty sure that is just true.
I mean, it's enough
if
of
it
a
works for
common knowledge thing
it-
that
If a fourth grader tells you something, it's real,
True.
especially when you're in second grade.
That's a fact.
without
It's
a
just
doubt.
like, yeah. If I'm in second grade and the fourth grader tells me something, why would they lie?
Dude, what are they going to
So-
get out of lying to you?
Yeah, therefore we know for sure that Marilyn Manson definitely got his ribs removed, because why would that kid on the bus have lied to me?
Yeah.
I watched Squid Game.
Ooh,
You did say that.
How is that?
It's good. I think it is really, really overrated.
Mhm.
But like it's still good. Like I enjoyed it. But like I feel like people were like, yeah, it's crazy intense and it's like visceral and like
One
I
of
don't
those
know.
things where it's not crazy intense.
yeah,
But
it's
it's
like
not crazy
80% of the
intense?
time people I would say 80% of the time because it's like a death game show, which
Yeah.
again I feel like it's also being hailed as like being like wow, it's like everyone's dying in a game. Isn't this crazy? And like that's yeah, it was crazy the first 12 times I saw it on a series. It's still good, but like I feel like it's being lauded as pioneering something it's not pioneering,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's kind of a weird, but it is a good show. And I want to say like I don't like it and it's bad because it is good and I do like it, but it's not as original as I feel like people are making it out to be. I think it's just like another good like kind of like in like thriller show.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's got a good mystery to it. There's some twists and turns and they're fun. But like a majority of the show is just like I was also told that it was really gory, and I was like, oh hell yeah, because I don't know if you're familiar with so it's a show about people who are gambling, or usually have a gambling problem, or at least a big debt problem, typically accrued from something similar to gambling, whether it be in the stock market or in your own life or in actual casino style gambling.
Mhm.
So it's just kind of about that, and people who have a debt accrue a massive debt, got to play a game to get a whole bunch of money. So it's not like it's not groundbreaking in that sense, but it's a good setup.
Mhm.
But I feel like I was told it was gonna be like really gory, and like 80% of the time people die. It's just getting shot.
That's very
I don't
disappointing.
like that.
Like I was expecting like a Saw style thing where it was like I don't know if you're familiar with the show. I think it's called Kaiji or Keiji Ultimate Survivor. It was an anime back in the day.
Mhm.
It's basically like a show. It's not the same, but it's got a similar premise where it's like people who have a really bad gambling problem are playing with their lives. But it's also got a lot of Saw style elements where they're like, all right, well, you need $20,000 to survive. If you cut your hand off, I'll give you $25,000.
Mm.
And yeah, and then they put a saw on the table, kind of like they're like, yeah, you'll live, but only if you do this awful thing.
Mhm.
You're like, oh, that's not cool.
That's 0 out of 10.
And yeah, and that's kind of what I was expecting. And then it was just like you can win like $20 million, and if you don't do exactly what we say, you just get shot. And I was like,
Yeah, that's
make
a
them
little tired.
poke their eyeball out or something.
Oh, what's
At least
what's
from-
the-
at-
Keep going.
I mean,
Sorry,
at
I'm
least
trying
from
to
the
remember.
start, because I feel like for most of it, it's not really most. I don't want to spoil anything, but for most of it, it's not like that at all,
yeah. Then
which
what's the
kind of
point?
disappointed me.
Yeah.
The movie Would
But it
You
is a good
Rather
paint.
is a little bit like that. Have you ever seen that?
That's the one where it's like the people in like the boardroom kind of thing, right?
Yeah, and there's just like an eccentric millionaire who's like, I am gonna make you perform for my amusement. And
Yeah, it's
yeah.
a really simple. Is that the one where the guy gets like everyone just keeps hitting to pick the one guy, or keeps choosing to hit the one guy with the cane?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I feel like Would You Rather is definitely way more brutal.
I would be surprised if it wasn't.
But
Would
also,
You
'cause
Rather
that-
was a
what
hard
would-
time.
There's the one thing with the paperclip or whatever, or like the needle, or maybe it's just like an index card. You know, with the guy's face in the eyeball region.
It was a razor blade.
Oh, that's awful.
Yep.
Ugh.
Oh yeah.
That's just
It gets me every time. Not like in the
it's so
it gets
gross.
me every time.
It's so gross. Why? Like you expect everyone to pan away from that kind of thing, but it's just bad.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
Dan, you can put that on a list of movies you would not like.
Already ahead of you, my friend.
I know you
But
were
I think
expecting to
it-
like it, but
I was. Honestly, I'm a little disappointed that you guys would just start talking about movies that I wouldn't like, but I guess
Squid
you
Game also
learned-
has some really, really, really good shots, like really good cinematography.
Mm.
There's one shot in particular that I'm like, man, this is amazing. It's really like, it's just really well set up. It looks fluid. The set itself is physically built wonderfully. I'm like, man, that's a really cool shot. And then they show it 20 more times in the show, and I'm like, I'm not impressed anymore. You
I'm
clearly,
done.
you're
you
really milking
hacks.
this one set.
oh, that's
And it's a
unfortunate.
great set. It's an amazing set. And every time I see it, I'm still like, this is a pretty good shot. But I'm just like, it's, yeah.
That would have been a pretty
Yeah.
good shot the first 5 times I saw it.
It's like, I get it. The staircases. I like the show. I would recommend the show.
But also,
There's just a couple moments where you're like, maybe if the
Well, no,
show
there's
was
just-
less.
it's just being lauded by people, like so many people that I know are being like, yeah, this is like maybe one of the best shows I've ever seen. I'm like, it's not, but it's good. It's really it's good and it's fun and
Mhm.
it's engaging and it's thrilling, but it's just it's not as original as I feel like people are giving it credit for.
One of those things where you don't want to sit there and be like, actually, you're wrong. It's not a good show because
Yeah, because I like it.
yeah. No, I feel
And
that.
also, it's a shitty thing to do to people. Be like, your show actually bad.
Exactly. Like, why also don't be mean to people about it. Jesus. Like, I'm not gonna go
Mhm.
on Twitter and argue with people I know that are like, I like Squid Game a lot. I'd be like, well, yeah, that's stupid. You know, I liked it too, but that's stupid.
Yeah, you would say that. I'm not surprised you would say that. What's that
Idiot.
supposed to mean?
Yeah, I think it's a good show and it's worth watching. I think it's a little bit tired at times, and I feel like people cut it way too much slack for doing things as if it's pioneering stuff that it's not even close to pioneering.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fair.
That reminds me. Did you either of you ever watch Bird Box?
Yeah, that
That-
very much same box.
I was just thinking that's like the exact to me it's the exact same thing you're describing here because it was fine. I just
Well, I think even more. Bird Box was even more egregious because Bird Box is not good. It's all right at best,
okay, yeah, I'll give you that.
but it was being lauded as like the most amazing horror film ever made. Then I watched it and I was like, okay,
Mm-hmm. Too many people. A lot of people thought it was really deep too, and that actually bugged the hell out of me.
yeah, that's annoying.
It's like it's not a deep movie. It's fine, but it's a really basic Netflix horror movie.
Yeah, and I mean it's a good time. It's a good time watching it. It's like
Yeah.
it's just like it's the Netflix horror movie. It's a little bit scary, but more so just like engaging, more like thrilling than scary.
Mm-hmm. Like I'd watch it again, but like I wouldn't sit down and choose to watch it again. You know, whereas
Mhm.
Squid
Yeah,
Games actually sounds enjoyable. Also, it's a TV show, which I think lends itself to concepts that don't always stick the landing. Work better in a TV show, in my opinion.
yeah,
How so?
Usually because if a concept isn't great, in my opinion, if a concept isn't great, if you give it a little bit more room to breathe, a lot of the time people are going to walk away from it with a much better impression than if your concept isn't great and you rush through it.
That's fair. Okay.
It's
yeah.
it's not a perfect system. Obviously, you're
No,
going to get
but
things that are bad
I've
and
not.
they went on too long.
but
But
I probably wouldn't have considered it in that framework.
Mhm.
I think
Yeah,
it's. I think definitely like TV shows have a little bit more room to breathe with being bad, especially because like even if they have like one good episode, you're like, man, that was pretty good,
mhm.
Mhm.
and then you can just kind of forget about the three bad ones that you just watched, or they can just do like the TV show thing that they usually do, which is like, hey, cliffhanger at the end of the episode. Ah, that's right, you forgot about the bad stuff.
Holy shit! I can't believe I forgot about the bad stuff.
But I don't know. I like Squid Game. I think it's good, and I think that you should like it. If you think you'd be interested, yeah, you should watch it.
Nice. I'll probably end up watching it. It's one of those movies that's on my list. I have a few other things in line first. Midnight Mass is pretty
Mhm.
high up there, and Nina and I are going to
I've
try and
heard
watch
that's
that
good.
together. I've heard it's very good. If you're a fan of like Hill House and that stuff, I've heard that you'll probably like it. So I don't know. I'm pretty excited. Also,
What
did
is
either
yours?
of you watch Lost back in the day?
Of course.
No,
No. Dan, I'm very
Oh,
glad
Jackson,
that
you
did.
would
Firstly,
you would have appreciated it solely on the audacity of this fucking show level.
I feel like I would. Yeah, no, I agree.
Like I don't think it's a good show by any stretch, but I think the absolute fucking audacity of the show for fucking existing is its own.
That's
Like,
incredible.
see, here's the thing. I
Like-
liked the show a lot, and I thought it was pretty good, if we're being honest. But I definitely had it tainted at the end, where I ended up leaving thinking, yeah, this show was awful. Because I thought it ended really terribly. And I'm not going
Yeah.
to say that it didn't end terribly. However, I've watched a video from someone who rewatched the entire series recently, and they said, actually, you know what? This show was actually a really pretty good time. Like,
it
there's a
was,
couple.
yeah, for the most part.
Well, no, that's what they were saying is that the last season holds up a lot better to binge watching than it does to weekly viewing.
So what you're telling me is that they were actually ahead of their time.
That actually was the main point of almost the entire video was that Lost was just ahead of its time. They didn't
That's-
record or they recorded on tape rather than digitally, which has let them, like remaster it in the modern era and it looks just as good as ever.
That's actually really interesting. I wish I could say I was
Mhm.
surprised, and I don't think I am per se, but I would not have expected that as a thing.
Mhm.
Like I would not have expected that of all things would be something that Lost did, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
If that came out
No,
properly.
no, I definitely agree. It's a surprise at most.
A surprise to be sure, but a welcome one.
I don't know why I said at most. It's at least a surprise.
Yeah,
Even if
it's
it's
one of those
pleasant.
things where of all like there aren't that many shows. First of all, not that many shows I feel like on tape. I feel like that was like a very brief period in our history as like a society versus on film or on digital. There aren't that many things
I mean,
filmed on fucking analog
I would
formats, especially
I
not more modern stuff.
I mean, Lost was early 2000s. Like that
That's
was squarely at the end of the there was a whole lot of TV that was done on tape.
that's fair. Maybe that's a my perception sort of thing.
Yeah, I don't know. In my opinion, that just it feels like there was a whole lot of oh yeah, like oh what's the show I'm thinking? I don't know why I was trying to think of like a specific show as an example, but everything before the year like 2000 essentially.
Well, yeah, but that was film. A lot of that was film, not tape.
Oh,
Like when did that
film.
transition?
I meant film. I'm
That
sorry.
is not the same thing.
Dan, you know damn well that I'm not a fucking film nerd, and I'm not
I,
gonna know the difference.
that's fair. That's fair. Okay, so being on film, I mean, that's still great for that time period, right?
Yeah, it
Like you
was the
said,
more expensive
things
option that they only barely got permission to do.
exactly. Like that's pretty great. I like that.
Personally, I film on every camera available to me, like my idol Tommy Wiseau. I just film on everything.
You know what? That's the way to make
Yeah,
your
you
movie.
never have to worry about it. Exactly. If you just shoot on film of every size you can get, and also digitally, and now maybe with like one of those old timey like crank cameras. I don't know. Fuck it.
I mean, why not?
If it's good enough for the room, it's good enough for me.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm walking here.
That's what I'm walking here. How
Gabagool
many
Jones,
seasons
is
was
that you?
Lost?
How many seasons? I think there were 7.
Yeah.
That sounds
Ooh,
right.
That's a good few.
Mm-hmm. There weren't too many
did- I-
episodes a season, though, if memory serves. I want to say it was less than 20.
I do remember Lost being one of those cultural like
Six
it really
six
it did the
seasons.
Game of Thrones. It did the Game of Thrones thing.
Mhm.
I honestly it did it first. I feel like there's other shows that have done that too, where like you can just fuck up so bad that everyone forgets they ever liked it.
Yeah, no, that is the unfortunate thing. All right, so there are 121 episodes split over 6 seasons.
How long are these episodes?
I want to say
40
each
minutes?
episode was about 40 minutes long.
Can't do it.
No, that's way too long.
Yeah, that's fair. Fair.
I feel like yeah, and honestly, not to bring it back to Squid Game, but that's a little bit of a dig against Squid Game. It does kind of the Breaking Bad thing where it's like the episode's 55 minutes long, no theme song, no intro credits, no outro credits, just fucking show. I'm like, oh, this is so exhausting to me.
It's so
I can't
much.
mentally do this.
Mm,
There is like a very much like Breaking Bad, a small intro sequence
mhm.
and minimal exit credits, but I'm like, you didn't shave off any time, and my brain is rotting.
No, I get that. It's
And
one of
that
those
is
things
not a
where I
bad
love
thing
it
for the show.
for some things. But
It's
Mhm.
great for the show because
Mhm.
it gives them more runtime. It gives the people who are making the show more time. I'm stupid and dumb, and my brain doesn't work in segments longer than 20 minutes, which is why I can have watched like 190 episodes of One Piece in 3 weeks, but I can't watch 9 episodes of Squid Game in one. And I cannot explain. Like I can't explain to you why. It's because I get to cut off like 4 minutes at the beginning and 2 minutes at the end of an episode of One Piece. It's 22 minutes in runtime. You got 15 minutes of content.
Mhm.
I can watch 15 minutes of content 20 times in a row. I cannot watch 45 minutes of content in a row.
I think that is completely reasonable.
I can get behind that.
That's not like, and I'm not telling people that they should make their shows shorter for me. I'm just saying like,
You're just
Yeah.
saying like maybe if your show's that long, maybe it's just not for me.
yeah. I just look at the runtime. I'm like, ooh, 42 minutes. I'll watch
Yikes.
5 episodes that are 20 minutes instead.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Because
it's
20 is
that's-
smaller than 40.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally am in agreement on that. I have such a hard time getting through anything first of all, but getting through longer form content, movies, anything longer than 15 minutes. Community works great because it's like almost exactly a 20-minute episode.
Downside.
do love
you have to watch Community.
No, Community's great.
Community's really good.
I couldn't
I've
get
enjoyed it quite a
into
bit.
I watched
Really? I feel
almost I watched like half the first season And everyone I say that to is like, oh, well, that's the first season. It gets better as it goes.
No,
But
that's bullshit.
Not really.
No, it doesn't. It's
Okay,
completely.
so in that case, I'm really glad that A, you're honest with me, and B, the knowledge that maybe I just don't get the show. It's a little comforting.
It also, you just don't have to be into the show. Like, it's totally okay to just.
No, fuck you.
I
If you don't like
really-
my favorite show, I'm gonna kill you.
The only person that I will do that you have to watch it gets better after the first season with is Michelle. Everyone else on the planet, like, dude, if I have to go through an entire season of your show to get to the part where it actually gets good, your show maybe just wasn't that good to begin with. Like, I don't know. I'm sorry if that's a super hot take. I don't have time to sit through an entire season of
I don't think it's a
mediocrity
super
before I
hot
get to the
take,
good
though,
part.
if we're being honest. I don't disagree with you. I
I
just
agree,
wish
yeah, I think-
that it was. I think that the bigger issue ends up coming up where so many people are just like, oh, yeah, everyone's attention span has been so lowered by the internet that no one knows how to think anymore. And it's like, well, yeah, that's probably an incredibly valid concern.
True.
However,
Also, I don't know that people's attention spans, maybe their ability to commit to long form content. And is that a problem? I don't know that it is. You
I'm-
can't, like, it's
I'm
not like
gonna say
long
it's a
form content
problem.
is the paragon.
see, here's the thing. I like long form content. I want more long form content in my life. But
Then watch it.
well, that's the thing, is it's hard for me to sit down and find time. But then I will sit down and I'll watch, 3 40-minute Northern Lion Isaac videos. But that's because they're 40 minutes long and I don't have to pay attention to them at all.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. I think an Isaac episode by Northern Lion is more intellectually stimulating than an episode of Community.
I do not disagree at all, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah,
with you.
and that's fine. It's
Yeah.
but I feel
Different
like people
kind of
will tell you
content,
that
but
like honestly, I enjoy Breaking Bad, but I feel like it's no more intellectually stimulating than doing anything you can do for an hour.
yeah,
It doesn't.
is.
It poses some cool questions, and it's got some characters that go through some good development cycles, but it's nothing that's like new. It's nothing that's like amazing. It's like, yeah, man, that guy's selling meth. Man, that's fucking dumb, right? Oh shit, he's gonna let his life go out of control.
Mhm.
Damn, that sucks. But it's not like, man, I am changed forever. Maybe some people, but it didn't. I don't think media has to strike me like that to be worth my time.
Agreed.
Fair enough.
I feel like it's just because like I kind of know who I am, and I know what I'm about, and I can isolate that from what I'm watching in a sense that like, yeah, I don't. I'll watch 7 hours of Halloween Baking Championship today. No one's gonna stop me, and I will never make a pat a shoe.
I gotta be honest, that sounds like a really good time though, and I'm incredibly
It's-
jealous of the time that you spent doing that.
I watch Halloween Baking Championship. Well, I watch whatever Baking Championship is seasonally accurate. While I'm doing like any kind of schoolwork, because I can just put it on for like 8 hours while I do whatever I have to do for the week,
Mhm.
and just be like, yeah, well, I can just glance up every couple minutes, be like, oh damn, they're making a cake, huh?
I do love my
Sure
seasonal
do be having a
baking
cake of a
show.
time.
Yeah, and then I just kind of like pause whatever work I'm doing to watch the judging segment. I'm like, ah, cool, and then I go back to work. It's a nice little mechanism. Gives me nice little quick breaks every once in a while.
Mhm.
I also will say, I know that like, subtitles are not a big barrier to media,
Mhm.
but they really are when you watch media as background noise.
True.
Yeah, no,
It
I
is-
agree with
if
that.
if Halloween Baking Championship was in Japanese, I wouldn't watch fuck all of it
Mhm.
because I'm not like, and then that's like I really hit a wall when I was watching One Piece because I ran out of dubbed episodes, and I was like, yeah, sure, like the sub was the original, but it's whatever. It's not the 4 kids version. It's just voice acting. Calm
Mhm.
down. But also like when I'm watching it subbed, I can't do anything else because if I look away for 10 seconds, I may have just missed a core part of the story development.
Mhm. That's been a big issue I've been having with watching a lot of Korean horror movies. Well, not a lot. I think we've watched 2 for the podcast, but
Mhm.
my I take notes while I watch because my short-term memory is fucked and I don't remember anything. So I try to, take as many notes as I can so I can intelligently speak about the movie I just watched, as you do. And that is really difficult to do when I also have to read subtitles and everything. I'll go away from the movie and be like, I love that, but I couldn't tell you a single character's name.
Mhm.
And I feel bad about that, but also it's like it's not a language I know. So I'm not able to just like passively pick up, oh yeah, they keep calling him John. Instead, it is another word I don't know in a string of words I don't know that, like, yeah, I can attach names to faces after I've watched the movie, but not like passively.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does make it a little more difficult, especially in a movie. I think in a show it's easier to pick up on the names,
Mm-hmm.
because you hear them more, and they're also more directly tied to like a character that you spend more time with.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in a movie, I will say, if I watch a movie in English, I don't remember the characters' names.
Oh, really?
Like I couldn't tell you half of them. If I'm paying real like close attention, or if I really care, I'll be able to tell you. Like I know Eddie Brock from Venom because that was the best movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean,
But like
we're
I
not
don't know.
talking about
I couldn't
Oscar
tell.
winners here. We're talking about the
Yeah,
thinking or
we're talking about
the
good
common
movies.
man's movie.
Yeah, honestly, the Thinking Man's movie. I'll say it. I'm not afraid. What is the Academy gonna do?
Nothing. They're cowards.
That's right. Nothing. Ooh, Ladybird. Well, how wet was Ladybird?
Not
Well,
wet at all. Probably. I don't know.
I mean,
I
there
haven't
was
seen it.
there's a lake in Austin called Ladybird Lake, and that's pretty fun. And it's a lake. It's pretty wet.
Bird Lake, huh?
Yeah.
Will
I think there's
wonders
also a
never
lake
cease.
or maybe ocean scene in Lady Bird. Anyway, either way, Timothy Chalamet never sat in a lobster tank and ate a raw lobster. Tom Hardy did.
That's
You make your decision.
that's true.
Yeah, you choose what is the best movie is, and if you choose what the Academy chooses, I'm sorry, you're just you're a slave to cinema society.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's Venom. That's the right answer. Where was I starting this tangent on? Oh yeah. Anyway, I don't know Venom's former fiance's name. I don't know the bad guy's name.
I don't know the bad guy's name either. I just know Anne because I just watched the second one, but I would not be able to tell you otherwise.
In the first movie, was Anne's fiance named Dave?
Dan, very close.
Dan. Okay, I was close. Yeah. I again, like I don't like I try, and I remember main characters, but that's it.
Damn. This is what
I do think that's
the
fine.
internet has done to our society and our culture.
It does say a lot about our society that I don't remember names.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you this too, Noah. Sometimes when I meet people, I don't remember their names.
I tell you, if I meet someone and I remember their name, it's one of the best days of my life because I will not ever do that again.
It's a small miracle.
I will see people who I have known for years, who I have a reason to remember their name. I knew this one kid. His name was Harrison. His last name was Beard.
Ford. He went on to be the president.
Exactly. But like I always remembered his name because I'm like, Harrison, Harry Beard. Nice. That's funny. But like I never remembered his name with enough confidence to say, "Hey Harrison, how you doing?"
I can't believe Noah docks this guy.
Harry Beard is very funny.
Isn't it though? How
It's a
can
funny name,
How
yeah.
can I not dox him? It's a funny name.
It's a pretty great name.
Your Honor, I had to give the man's personal information away. His social security number had 2 69s in it.
Yeah. Listen, sometimes it really do be like that though.
Your Honor, his social security number was 420 69 69 69. I had to give it away to the public.
I mean, I gotta be honest. If my social was 4206969, so be it.
Yeah, people are gonna know.
How difficult do you think it would be to go through life with a name, with like a social security number like that? No one would ever believe you.
Yeah, no, you'd fill out a form and they'd be like, all right, joke application, get it out of here.
Exactly. And like I can't even blame them for it.
I would wager they might not give out social security numbers with joke permutations in them because there's so many available numbers. There probably is like a system in place to be like, all right,
Well, here's the thing.
only 169 allowed.
I don't think that
Unfortunately,
would be true only because that's a young person thing.
Exactly.
That
And also,
I
it's
don't think
like 42069 is a
old people would
relatively new meme. Social Security's been around for a hot minute.
Well, yeah, but if the number's been out for a while and like a 70-year-old dude has a number already,
That's true.
And if a young person does, they'll probably be like, I'm just gonna change it.
Nah, dude. If I had that social, there's no way. And regardless of how much
Yeah, it'd be
trouble it would
funny.
put me in, no, sir. That's
Yeah,
that's
no.
who I am now.
Same. I'm the 69 guy. It would just be like,
Yeah, see,
that would be my whole personality. I'd be like, can't tell you, but I have a really funny joke, and people would be like, what is it? I'm like, I cannot tell you any element of it.
I cannot
This is-
But a
tell
friend
you-
of mine.
this is yeah, so that's why like if you have a joke social security number, you might not get a job, but like that's why I would just give all my kids joke names anyway, so that way like the social security number wouldn't throw anybody off. Like this is
True.
my son Bartman.
Butch Bartman.
With the emoji.
Can you put a question mark in your name?
Can you put can your name legally have an emoji in it?
First name Bart Simpson?
If the answer to that, Dan, is yes, then we have a huge problem.
No, it's definitely not. because it just would be too like the variance on a signature would just be
That would be so funny. I think the variance on my own signature that I do is varied enough, though. I get,
That's
You know,
fair.
the older-
can you mix
Go ahead.
your name? Can you make your name a mixture of two like linguistic alphabets?
Yeah, why not?
I mean, I'm just like asking
mean-
like from a legal perspective. Could
You-
my last name be like I don't know, like a Japanese kanji?
Doesn't Elon's
Or
kid's
would
name
someone
have
be
a
like-
square root symbol in it?
yes.
I mean, maybe, but what like it works a little bit differently for rich people. Like
That's
everything
true.
Does.
Yeah.
That is
Like
true.
if I wanted to be like, yeah, this is my child. They have their first name is a Japanese character, and their last name is just like a normal
Smith.
like connection of English letters.
I feel like you wouldn't be able to do that, not for any like valid reason, but just because most American keyboards would not allow you to properly fill out government forms.
Actually,
Well, the
no, 'cause
keyboard's
it-
not what holds you back.
yeah, because the Unicode, because like you can do the like numpad thing to get special
Yeah.
characters. Like that's a thing.
Also, you can just like,
Copy paste
keyboard
it.
inputs can be changed to like you can
True.
use like an
Just set a
English
language,
QWERTY
yeah.
keyboard
Oh, I
for
meant-
any language. Yeah.
I meant like in the government facilities that they would have issues with it. Those
Oh,
people
no, like,
barely know
'cause
how
it-
to use a computer as it is.
That's true.
I'm sure they probably have some form of like language software because I mean I couldn't imagine it not being available, and if anything they'd have to be like, this is a problem, I'll ask somebody and get it fixed.
Yeah.
Because like I mean I know for certain with like Chinese, if you're doing Mandarin characters, that you can use like the pinyin system, which is just like a romanization of the words or of the characters I suppose, and you type it out how it basically sounds, and then it gives you a list of options because of the tones. So like the intonations change things, but you don't have a tonal symbol for your lettering. So like you can just write in. Let's say I need to write in like the last name like Wang, then I would just type it out like WANG, and then your display will show a series of symbols that match that that letter combination, that like Wang sound,
Mhm.
and then you choose
Mm.
based on like the intonation you need. So if it's got like a third tone or second tone, you can pick the character for it, and then it will show up on the typing block as the character you've just typed in.
That is extremely interesting.
So yeah, it's type and click is what it is. Because I use it on my phone, and somewhat on my computer, but like mostly like you can just like type out how you basically type how it sounds, which is a little bit interesting, and then it works better with like a longer string of characters.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're going to use the word for something, instead you could just if you type out the opinion for that, it's going to come in as a more descript, quicker selection, because you lower down the variables of being like, well, there's only so many times those two characters are used right next to each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how you type in a foreign language on any keyboard. Some inputs like won't take it though. Like some like games and stuff won't take inputs in a language that's not supported. Whereas like Chrome will take anything. You know, obviously like texting, you can send whatever symbols are available, but yeah, you can't on some apps and things like that.
Yeah.
Which it makes sense because they're not developed with that in mind. And usually you'll have like a language select, and if you select the language, then it enables inputs, and that's how it's done though. So yeah, an English keyboard can pretty quickly and efficiently write in most languages, and vice versa.
The more you know.
You just have to have a little help from software, which makes it cheaper than having to buy like several several keyboards, have them on hand, and switch them out for people who are like multilingual.
More you know. I didn't know any of this. That's
I
cool,
did
though.
also did not know any of this.
Well, I
That
mean, there's if you only speak English, you don't have a reason to know that, you know.
True.
That is also true.
I feel like we've learned something today.
That's what I'm here for.
It is?
Yeah. You didn't know I'm
Huh.
the educational host. That's what everyone calls me. They're like,
Huh.
wow, Jackson, the educational one.
You know, I remember people
I'll buy
saying
it.
that.
I buy it.
And they say Dan, the one with swag.
Aw.
I thought
You
you were gonna get mad at that because swag,
Eh.
but
Yeah, but coming from me, he knows it's a high compliment.
That's true. That is exactly what it is.
Which is one of the only ways I can get away with telling Dan that he has swag. Pre-established notions of positive and negative compliments. I always think back to that stupid fucking image back in the day. It's like, swag is for boys, class is for men.
I hate that.
I just think about it all the time. I'm like, yeah, I agree, but like, you know, I mean it the other way around. Like swag is for boys, and that's better. I just think about this like every day.
I haven't thought about it in a long time just because I've managed to avoid people that talk like that anymore.
That's good.
But
You know,
also,
speaking of people that talk like that, I saw a post the other day on Facebook that was someone who was like, people out here talking about PS5 and Xbox Series X in the console war while PC gamers are just chilling. What the fuck are you talking about? When's the last time you heard someone genuinely be like, no way, man, PS5 is so much superior to Xbox? Like, no one cares anymore.
I haven't heard anyone talk about that in so long.
Yeah,
The only
'cause why- no
conversation
one
I
d-
hear is what are you going to get because of the different exclusives that different ones have.
Yeah, and then someone will be like, oh, personally, I like the PS5 exclusives. I want to play Horizon Forbidden West. You'd be like, oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like, no one cares. But yeah, I saw someone who was posting, was like, and PC gamers are superior. And like, what are you talking about?
Man,
No one cares about PC gamer. Like, it's not a competition at all anymore.
That's a culture I'm really glad I got away from, was PC gaming supremacy and like that kind of attitude. Because firstly
gross.
all jokes aside about it, it ends up getting really, really weird really quick. Like more than just like the regular like toxic level of weird that you expect to have from a group that's like everything I do is better than everything everyone else does.
Yeah.
I don't know. In my
I guess-
mind, there's like a lot of like my memory is full of a bunch of like weird like Nazi stuff. Even though I know that wasn't a thing that happened while I was there, at the same time, I feel like the PC gaming group hits a bunch of the same like dog whistles.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's fair.
And it's such a weird like obsession too of being. I think it kind of stopped because no one really cares and no one's fighting for graphics anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like no one. It's not about that. Like, yeah, sure, a PC can run better graphics if you spend $3,000, but like, why would like if you spend $3,000 for better graphics, no one's trying to like talk about. No one cares about that, man. Like, oh yeah, your game looks real good. Oh, like that's not that's not an argument anymore. And I feel like PC people are still like pushing that for some reason. They're like, it's a League of Legends machine for 80% of you, and that's fine.
Yeah.
There is nothing wrong with that. But
I mean,
like,
the joke of, oh yeah, I built a $5,000 gaming ring, still playing Minecraft. Like it's real. It's a joke, but it's also like 100% for a lot of people that is what their machines end up being, and that's
Yeah.
great.
yeah, and sure, like as play the games you like to play, and spend the money you have to spend. If it's what you want to do, go for it.
Yeah, make yourself happy, dude. You deserve
But
to be
yeah,
happy.
it's the weird superiority that exists around it from some people, and it's not from most people anymore. It's really died out.
Also, it
But,
does
like-
kind of ignore the Mac versus like PC that is still ongoing. Like that conversation does still come up pretty fucking regularly in my life.
Yeah, that is one of those weird things. People really are like still really sold on one or the other, and, like, without realizing it doesn't really matter. Especially with like iPhone and Android is like the dumbest thing because like that's
I'm-
such a weird oversimplification. That like it's not really iPhone or Android. It's not.
Yeah,
Usually it's like Apple or Samsung.
yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Typically are the things people are actually talking about. Like
Exactly.
get whatever phone you want. You're talking about operating systems that you don't have a choice in that. It comes on it's pre-installed on the hardware. Just get the phone you like.
The only acceptable argument that I will approach for one versus the other on either side is that it's a lot harder to fucking jailbreak your / like completely break your Apple device, whatever form that takes. That's the only argument that I accept as far as like there's an actual difference. And then price. Like, because
Yeah,
that's
the
it.
price thing is what blows me away. Is like I feel like iPhone people are still like, yeah, it's the more expensive phone, and like every Android phone that comes out is $1,500 now.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like you go to any store and they're like, yeah, you can get the new iPhone 13 for free. Please just come to AT&T, and you're like, cool. But then I feel like the new Surface like Duo 2 that's coming out looks really cool.
I want it so bad.
$1,600.
Yeah, there's no way I'm spending $1,600 on it though.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, like the Samsung like Fold and Flip. Yeah, no, they're over $1,200 a piece.
Yeah.
Whereas,
I've been
like,
actively looking for a new phone for a hot minute now, and like it is something that I keep running into is like I'm really not interested in switching to iPhone, but you go 2 generations back and suddenly the iPhone price drops into the fucking floor, whereas
Yeah, and
Samsung
honestly, even
doesn't
if you
as
want a new one,
quickly.
if you switch carriers or like switch plans, they literally just give you one.
Honestly,
they
I was
don't
going to
do that
say
for-
that. There's a lot of iPhone promos that they'll give you free
They're
iPhones
so
for
good.
switching. And I
Yeah,
hate
like
that because I don't like iPhone's interface.
Same.
I don't mind it, but I'm not super sold on it. It's just the fact that I could just go into the store and get a new phone because I have like a Galaxy 8.
Mhm.
So like if I could go into the store and get like an iPhone 13 for free just because I'm switching carriers and I don't even like my carrier that much, that's a great deal.
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic deal.
Especially if I want to get like the new like Samsung phone and spend $1,200.
Hmm.
I would, yeah. But then I feel like people still like the iPhone community, especially like younger people, do have the opinion that like, oh, poor people don't have iPhones. Like, first of all, that's
Yeah.
weirdly classist, and second of all, that's not even how it goes anymore.
Hmm. I actually had
Like,
someone
also,
like jokingly tell me that that's why he only ever messaged me on Facebook Messenger was because he didn't like seeing the green messages back and forth
people are
because
really serious about that. Yeah.
yeah, he's like, well, you have Android and I didn't like the green messages. And I'm like, well, I don't like iPhone. He's like, LOL, sorry that you're broke. And I'm like, okay, wise guy, whatever. But like, it's a weird thing to say.
It is a weird, like, it's a weird thing. Yeah, just in general. It's just a phone. Most people, you kind of need one these days if like, for a lot of things. And you just get whatever's accessible.
Ac-
And it's a horse apiece.
Actually, that's something else that bugs me a lot is the number of people that pretend that smartphones are not actually incredibly crucial to like daily lives at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also professional lives in most settings.
Yeah. Like I could not do my job if I did not have a smartphone. Like flat out. There are too many things that I need it for. And I don't need it for like a lot of things, but it's a couple little things here and there that I literally cannot do without my phone. You know?
Yeah, no, I'm going to school for journalism. I understand fully.
Oh, yeah.
It's like yeah, no, it's weird that people act like it's like a knickknack that people are throwing away all their money on. I'm like, nah, actually, like, especially specifically in like the field of work that I'm like studying, it's literally essential and so much more effective, efficient, and cost effective than the alternative.
I mean, look at like for journalism. Let me just take like a couple wild guesses. Tell me if I'm on mark here. Your phone eliminates having to carry a recorder to record any conversations.
Yeah,
Your phone eliminates having to carry around a pen and paper if you want to take notes and
yeah.
you're on the fly. So that's already a 2-in-1. You can video record things and not have to carry around a bulky camera. Once it's one of those things where it's like it's not an ideal replacement for some things, but like my phone is one of the best audio recorders I can get my hands on.
It
And it's
is.
cheap.
And also, it's like genuinely phone cameras, especially like higher quality phone cameras, are actually amazing.
Yeah, your only
Like,
issue you end up getting is you can't do any good zoom stuff with it. You can't get a
yeah,
lot of far
and they're working
shots.
on getting there too. That's the nice thing.
And that depends even on the phone itself, because I know some of the newer ones even have like part of the whole reason that the multi-lens thing started coming out was so that you could have hold on.
Like wide angle and zoom and stuff. I know those are the two that they.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's I feel like specifically for journalism, like the phone is literally such a lifesaver, and it does condense so many other pieces of equipment into one, and it does all their jobs not necessarily better, but comparably,
Mhm.
often better, and you can just do it all on the machine. Like you can literally take things from like notes and pictures into post production, edit them all, and upload them. Maybe not upload, but like send to an editor
Mhm.
before you even like leave your car,
Yeah.
and that expedites the entire process and is just like a crucial replacement.
Yep.
Especially because like honestly, when it comes to photographs, not necessarily video, like a DSLR camera can be pretty good and is usually like pretty good, but a phone camera does very comparable work with like immediate benefits and balancing that the auto is much more like sensible, and
Oh, yeah.
the ability to edit it on the device with tools that are like like the Adobe Mobile Suite, like you can do so much.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I would say it's a better camera, arguably.
Yeah, because I'll definitely agree that like you can get more out of the like super high quality photos you can get on a DSLR. I won't pretend that that's not
Yeah.
a thing,
But to get one that's comparable, it'll cost you $800,
yeah,
and the phone will cost you $900. So it's like,
and your phone can take emails and all kinds of other things that your camera can't do. I don't know. what was it? We were talking about it a few weeks ago where you were saying that unless you're looking to get into professional photography, there's really no reason to actually like pick up an expensive camera or even
Yeah,
like just not phone camera for the most part.
yeah. I mean, I can back that. Like, I think that there are. I mean, in every case, there's exceptions, whatever. But like, yeah, for the most part, like for anyone in the average use case, yeah, you don't. There's no reason to own a separate device from your phone as far as camera, sound recording, video recording. Hell, even like you said, a lot of emails and stuff are gonna end up be going through your phone anyway. Like, yeah, is it do I like I personally don't do a lot of stuff on my phone if I can help it, right? Like I would much rather sit at a computer and be able to have my multiple screens, but like
Mhm.
doesn't mean I can't do it. It's just a personal preference thing.
Yeah, I prefer doing most of my work on my well, now that I've used my computer at work, I really prefer working on that for like all audio, video, everything I possibly could want to do, I would rather do on that computer. But I prefer doing almost all of my work on my home computer rather than on my phone if I possibly can, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm a terrible photo editor, like balancing and stuff like that. I don't know how to do that yet. I never took any classes. I don't know what to look for. So, but I have an app on my phone
That
that
does
I
it for
paid
you.
$3 for. No, it doesn't do it for me. I'm not one of those guys. But like I paid $3 for it and it has a wide enough yet limited enough selection of things I'm allowed to do that I actually feel like I can competently make my photos look like what I want them to, you know?
Mhm.
And I like that. Makes me feel
I
good.
also like that. Yeah, it's nice to
Yeah.
feel it gives it makes the floor a lot higher. I think is the way to phrase it, right? The ceiling for all these things haven't changed,
Mhm.
but the floor is so much higher than it used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. And I feel like what really happens is I think you got a whole bunch of people who are older and they're still kind of stuck on the idea, like even like Gen X and like boomers especially, are of the opinion that like smartphones are still the thing that you have the soda shaking app on.
Mm-hmm.
Like they still think it's like the iPod Touch era where it's like, yeah, oh, it's just where you download stupid game apps and you can just like, oh, you have like a fake gun app and it just goes boom boom and like you're like, no, actually, no one does that anymore except for you guys.
Congratulations, though.
Like everybody else is doing things that they can to like, use it artistically and creatively when available, or honestly, not at all if they're not.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know many people who just still sit around and they're like, yeah, I play games on my phone all the time. That's what I use my phone for. Like, people play games sometimes, but I feel like no one's primary use of their phone often anymore is gaming.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would agree.
I have a few on my
Honestly,
phone
the
just
thing I
like
use my
'cause,
phone,
oh,
the
go ahead, sorry.
thing I use my phone the most for nowadays is listening to podcasts. Like 90% of my phone use time is listening to podcasts, and lately playing Slay the Spire.
Oh, that's right. There's a mobile port now.
It's
Yeah,
very good.
I like the, I mean, the also like as a music player, the phone is something we didn't even mention because it just goes so
Oh yeah.
unspoken.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, no, the phone is also crucial. And like, yeah, if I'm driving somewhere, I usually put my phone in.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
I'm
even
not gonna
if
lie, I almost forgot that that era was a thing where
The what? The iPod
you had
Touch or the
w
iPod like
well, yeah,
separate device era?
where you had to carry around a separate music device. I actually had almost fully forgotten that that was a thing that I used to do. More importantly, that that's something that turns into a core part of your personality too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, yeah, I'm the guy that always has a music thing with me, so I always have music on hand." You know, like,
yeah,
I had forgotten about
and,
that.
and it was just made such a seamless integration that really like once it happened, once they were like, yeah, music on smartphones of the same degree that an MP3 player or like
Mhm.
even later an MP4 player or an iPod could
Mhm.
offer. It's just like, yeah, it's the same exact thing, arguably better, and also on the exact same device that you're using as your phone. So you can
Mm-hmm.
also call people and text people. And then, with services like Spotify and like even Apple Music and like Amazon Music technically, because it does exist. Um,
Well,
it does. It's real. You can then immediately just be like, okay, well, I'm gonna listen on my computer, and it's the same library, and it's fully transferable.
mhm.
Yeah.
Whereas at a time, it was like, oh, I've got to open up my like LimeWire downloads list, export them onto my MP3 player, and then like, yeah, that was the only way to get things on and off. You had to like manually change it all out,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to like, oh yeah, I just like save this album so I can just open it up later if I forget about it.
Mhm. Oh, it's
Anyway,
a
phones are cool.
cool technology place to be. Also, though, I will admit that I do miss some of the separation. Um, there was something nice about not being, and that's the bad thing about phones is I don't like being on call at all. I hate it. I hate it with every fiber of my being. I don't ever want to be on
Yeah.
call for anybody, but
It's fair.
I'm stuck with it. Boo-hoo. Oh no.
Sucks to suck.
Nothing I can do. But,
Hell, at least before when you were on call, like as a nurse or something, you had to be at home.
Mm-hmm.
You can at least like just have your phone in your pocket and like go do something. Granted, less conveniently, and most people will still choose to be at home if they're on call. But like,
yeah,
there was a time when you just had to sit by the phone in your house and like read a book or something.
Totally,
But now you can
totally
like go to
bogus.
the park and still be on call.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of Michelle's job these days is her being on call, and yeah, it's very normal that she will like go out and like that'll be her. Hey, I've got to go out and do errands and stuff. I'm technically on call, but like if they need me, they're just gonna call me and then
See,
we'll
Call
deal with
me
it
and
from
I'll
there.
go in.
My-
Yeah, you just you don't want a road trip or like go really far away or watch a movie, but like just
My only complaint is that she did at least sign up for a job where she knew she would be on call. This was added to my job later, and I'm just bitter about it. Let me tell
Yeah,
you my
and
favorite
her being on
story of
call
how
is
it happened.
also her being on call is also she doesn't have to go into the office today. She just has to be on call today, which is
Mm-hmm.
extraordinarily nice.
that is, depending on the job, more often than not a day off.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And when it isn't, it's just a mild inconvenience and you got to work.
Exactly. Oh, hey, I already planned to be at work today, and look, now I don't have to be.
Yeah. Or hey, I already planned on being at work today, and well, I gotta be.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's a nice world. No, tell us your story of how you got to be put on call.
So, Jackson, you were actually there for this super funny moment because we were hanging out. And this was the night that we played Mario Kart. You may remember.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you were. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I got a phone call because Penelec had a power surge and blew out one of our transformers. And there was nothing
Fun.
that we could do about that. It's incredibly unfortunate, but there's not much to be done. And my boss wanted me to put an alert on our website so that people would know because it would affect what we were doing that weekend.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, I'll do that first thing tomorrow. And he's like, well, I'd really like you to do it now. And it was like 8:30 at night. No one's looking at my business's website at 8:30 at night.
Are you sure?
Only-
I feel like that's the best time. That's primo business time.
That's
I
when
tell
I
you,
go.
dude.
I check it out every 8:30 on a Friday or whatever day of the week it was.
Exactly. Well, here's the thing, too. The literal only person who would do that is my boss. And it's because he lives on our website for some reason. He thinks people check our website on a regular basis and wants me to
Oof.
update like things on that, like as our primary outreach. Like, oh yeah.
I do
Ooh.
hate interacting with people like that who are like, you got to make sure you prioritize thing that should not be prioritized because it is literally the least interacted with platform and everything else should take priority as it gets the most engagement, but they're like, no, it's this thing that I like. You're like, just because you're in charge and you like something doesn't mean it's the most popular.
Mhm.
It's fine. But yeah, it's a common thing.
But you're
Yeah.
not bitter.
Oh yeah. Oh
is
yeah.
what I'm hearing.
No,
Yeah, I've
not at
never
all.
experienced it. I'm not bitter.
Yeah. No, it's fine. It's fine. Dan, it's fine.
You know what? I
But
think
anyway,
it's fine. I'm
you know.
sorry. I'm sorry for even implying that it might at one point not be fine.
I'm glad
That's
I'm
fine
glad
to
that
me.
you fucking admitted it.
Are you fucking sorry?
But yeah, so I am mildly impaired at this point. And I'm like trying to tactfully tell my boss that I will not do that. So I finally landed on, man, I'm not at home right now. I'll get it as soon as I wake up tomorrow, but I'm out for the evening. I cannot do anything to the website. And he's like, fine. And
I do feel like we brainstormed the response.
he called me later too when I was I was further gone at that point. And he asked me for the password. And I'm just like, dude, I promise you. Because at that point, it was like 8:45. And I'm like, I promise as soon as I get up, I will update this. But no one's going to check it overnight. I'll put out a Facebook post. And he's like, okay, that'll do for now. As long as you update the
That'll
website
do.
as soon as possible. So, Dan, you tell me, I'm sitting here using every bit of my brain power trying to fucking write a Facebook post alerting people that, hey, I know it's Easter in 3 days, but we had a power surge that killed all the power to the building, and we might not be open. So hey, just as a heads up, and I'm trying so hard. It had typos in it because I couldn't tell. And I had someone text me a screenshot and he's like, LOL, typo city. And I'm like, oh yeah, my bad. And I went back to fix it. And it's like, this dude who sent me the screenshot had access to the access to the page. And he didn't fix
son of
it.
a bitch.
That's so BM.
He didn't know that I was
fixing this
impaired.
problem I saw. I'm gonna call you an idiot instead of fixing the problem I saw.
And I was telling people about it later with some embellishments that cleared up my situation, you know, but I was like, yeah, dude, I was really drunk that night because I had a friend come into town from out of town. So Jackson, you're my out of town friend now, just as a heads up.
I did live like an hour away from you, I think, at that point. No, maybe not. Maybe it was post that era.
Yeah, well, I mean,
it was
still
like
a solid 30
like
plus minutes.
Yeah, it was out of town.
Yeah, you're distinctly out of town. So
I
I'm
live
like,
in a
yeah,
different town.
I'm hanging out with a friend of mine from out of town, and I was drinking, and you know, blah 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 blah. But man, that was the stupidest example of being on call, because I expect to be on call for like, hey, I can't access the server. Hey, the printer isn't working, and then I can walk someone through turning things on and off, which is all that I will do.
You expect to know you're on call at least.
Yeah, but it's like, and it is like I work on Sundays, but because I work on Sundays, due to the nature of the rest of my schedule, I do work like a regular almost 8-hour day. The other days that I'm in the office, I think it's like 7:40 or 7 hours 45 minutes. Generally to round out to a 36-hour work week where I have to ruin my whole Sunday, you know? Like not too terrible. But there was someone who was mad at me that I didn't have hours on Friday, and they were just like, well, you know, we need tech support on Fridays too. And I'm like, dude, I work 5 days in a row. What more do you want from me?
Also, that at a certain point, and I'm going to say this, and I think I have actually said this to you before, at a certain point, them needing tech support on a time that you're not on is really more their problem than yours.
Mm-hmm.
Like at a certain point, yeah, you're right. You do need tech support while I'm not here. That is true. You should figure that out.
Yeah, almost like one person can't be there 24/7.
Crazy. We've been going through that with my job. We literally have brought on, I think, since I started, like 7 people because they were doing the, oh, we just need people to be on call, and now there's too much work, and being on call at all times doesn't work anymore. Like you can't just do that.
No,
it's not fun when you're on call 24/7 and they're calling you 12 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they're paying you overtime. It's still not fun, but at least you feel like it's worth it.
My job does not do overtime.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
Speaking of hating jobs and ending things, we should wrap this episode up.
I agree. I was about to say speaking of overtime, but you know.
Ooh, that's much better because we didn't talk about ending things at all. I just kind of wanted to segue it.
That was pretty good.
Well, speaking of overtime, this podcast is sure into overtime. What's the hockey buzzer sound? Put that in there.
I'll accept it.
That's the hockey buzzer sound.
Yeah.
The hockey buzzer sound.
You guys don't go to Seinfeld hockey games?
Seinfeld Stadium.
All right, I'm done recording. I'm stopping.
That's probably a good idea.
No, did we have?
Oh wait,
fucking yeah.
We have a
Good
shout
thing I didn't
out.
hit the
We have a
stop
shout
button.
out from Hi this week. It's actually was supposed to be said last week, but that's okay. And the shout out is I was behind a car with the license plate 69 FAP.
That's
It's a good license plate.
It's a good license plate. I don't know if I should be happy that you shared this with us or angry.
I think happy because it's important to know what you're about, and I feel like the person who owned that car knew what they were about.
Yeah. I don't know that I'm happy that they knew what they were about, but they did know what they were about.
Yeah, sometimes what people are about is weird, but Maslow's hierarchy of needs doesn't account for people being weird when they self-actualize.
That's true.
I need that like on a wall somewhere of quotes because that is a gift. Doesn't account for people being weird when they self-actualize is very, very good.
Jackson, can you come
I
and
like
like
that quite
paint
a
that
bit.
on my wall?
Seriously.
And because of that, I feel like furries are some of the most free people.
All right, we're out of here.
All right.
You're not ready for that conversation.